Everyone wants to turn their passion into a business until it comes time to do business things. We're here with our makeup artist, Karlee. Let's talk about it.
Everybody's not ready to have a ton of business.
Most people don't think of everything at once, up front and be like, here's everything built out, my entire system.
If you show up to a job and you don't have something that you need,
Right.
like that embarrassment, you're gonna be like, oh, I don't want to feel this ever again.
I will run away from someone that says they have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel
Isn't this your first podcast?
This is my first podcast.
wait, this is your first? I didn't know that.
They don't know really what even framework to put together or what systems to put into place to keep them going.
When you first start, you just want to do the thing.
One of our quotes on there, it says, "This is Disney, not McDonald's." And the reason we say that is because,
Let's talk about it.
Karlee, how do we meet you? Do you remember, what?
You messaged me on Instagram, I think. Well, I think I followed your Boudoir
Okay.
thing, and then I think you followed me back on Instagram, and then probably just through organic interaction through there.
Yeah. Okay. I remember because
Did we meet during COVID? Or was it right after COVID? It may have been right after.
Yeah.
was that after COVID?
Shortly after.
I think it's funny how we measure stuff by COVID, like before COVID.
No, I
and after
know.
COVID.
Yeah, because you guys already had this studio kind of established and everything.
Yeah.
So I think it was right after
Yeah.
Okay.
COVID.
Because we got this the year of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we went in really hard on, because we're like, well, we can't really get a crew together for any stuff. So.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was really kind of selective with who I guess clientele that I was doing. So once things kind of started lifting, even then I was like, here's an agreement of I'm not sick, you're not sick.
Right.
If anything is to happen, neither of us are liable for this. So
And for us, it's like we had the kids, so they were young. I can't remember how old they are, but I remember even on when we did collab shoots, there was a thing in there. It's like, hey, listen, no one else is coming. We're not having extra people. It's just us and you, and we're gonna because we have kids. We don't want them getting COVID.
right.
Yeah, bro. I remember. So I remember we met you, and we were doing. You did that trial thing for. Oh yeah. So if you're listening, we also on top of video and creating content, we do boudoir photos. And if you don't know that, how do you explain boudoir photos to someone?
It's like intimate, sexy photos for a person's partner. A lot of people do it when they're engaged. I would say, well, I don't know if most, but a lot of our clients will do it as a wedding gift.
Yeah.
Sort of to commemorate this moment in time is, what I look like, what I want you to remember as your bride. And
I feel there's been a lot that are in the fitness.
I feel like I'm
too.
selling it.
Yeah,
No, in the
I was gonna
fitness.
say I think a lot of people do it as almost even if it's for themselves, almost like a self-confidence booster
Yes.
or a body transformation.
Yeah.
That's kind of their goal of I'm gonna
Right.
set this deadline for a photo shoot and I'm gonna look my best.
Yeah.
We had one client who she had gone through a miscarriage 3 or 4 months, just shortly before. And that was her way of coping. And I just thought, I was like, wow, that was really because her body was different and she wanted to feel better.
Yeah.
And so I that just kind of stayed with me because, most of the time you hear people women saying, oh, I just want to feel good about myself, which is great.
Yeah.
But that one felt really genuine, a really, I don't want to say good reason, but a really genuine reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
It was different. I know that. What did you think when we first met you? Hey, want to come do makeup?
think it'd
I'm
be
always
cool.
curious.
Yeah, I like you guys.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just a cool, especially, so usually I shoot, I've only shot with a couple of their boudoir photographers, but they're usually female. And so, I just feel like the industry in general, it's that stereotype of the creepy weird guy that's the boudoir
bro,
photographer.
yes.
So it's really refreshing to see you guys as a team that, you're just good people and just want to create good work for people and make them feel good about themselves.
I love that. Let's stay on that for a second because
Yeah. I love that you said that. I brought it up.
the creepy guys that shoot boudoir, it annoys me.
Yeah.
And especially when we have some people that come in here as just to help us create content, they'll come in and we'll be talking, they'll tell us a story of some other photographer. And sometimes it's photographers that are big in the photo world and they tell these stories. I'm like, bro, why not? And part of me wants to be like, I'm just going to tell everyone that this person is doing this. You know what I'm saying? But it's I don't know if that's my place, but it just sucks so much. There's so many people out there that's like, let me just try to see how naked I can get someone and shoot pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
That's what I
usually they don't charge.
Right.
And so it's easy to say no to not paying, so people will come in. Yeah.
And well, easy to say no. It's hard to say no if you're not paying. Yeah. Bro, when we charge, you're not gonna come in here and we charge good too.
Yeah.
But all that to say, I love the fact you've seen our stuff. I love the fact that when we shoot photos, a lot of the times I can get people to look really good clothed.
Yeah.
And honestly, I get frustrated. The less clothes they wear, the more it annoys me. Because the more I have to make sure every other part looks good.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, they're wearing clothes. I'm like, cool, we got this. But then it's like, and this gets up, I'm like, okay, how about I'm like, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, because it's the more that's visible, the more that they're going to like
exactly.
pick apart on themselves.
Right.
So, yeah.
But I also think that's why I like doing this too. Is because women, I feel like, are the hardest to take pictures of. And then to be like, you know what, I look good.
Yeah.
You know?
But you love a challenge.
Yeah.
That's just, you love that in everything. So I think
true.
this is just...
Even this podcast, you are our first guest since we've relaunched it.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. We got these chairs like a few days before. My thing was like, can we make this happen before? We told you, yes, let's do it.
We had our chairs. We had to order another one.
And our light, we used to have this light. I was showing you beforehand. I was like, hey, how can we do this to where it's set up to where... And I was like, we'll just figure it out. And we did, like, up until the last second. We were in here cleaning.
Well, even like texting her what to wear. I was like, it was maybe like a few hours ago. I was like, hey, can you wear this?
Yeah.
And then it was maybe an hour ago. I was like, actually, can you just wear this?
But
so it's because we were figuring lighting out.
Yeah.
And, you know.
How did you get into doing makeup?
So I grew up as an only child, and I've always just been a really creative person, whether it be music, drawing, what have you. And throughout my high school years, especially, makeup just kind of became my creative outlet and just what I did all day, every day. And then that kind of carried on into college, and then getting into like pageants and that sort of thing. And being in a sorority, people are like, come do our hair and makeup for us.
Wow.
So wait, pageants? Were you in pageants? Or Okay.
Yeah. So I did in Tennessee, I did the USA system for Tennessee Teen USA, and then in Kentucky, I did the Miss America organization, and then competed in Miss Kentucky and that. So that was like a whole other weird world.
Oh my
How'd that
goodness.
feel? Like being, I always think it's so crazy to, especially in the world we're in now, where it's like, don't judge people or don't, like, you have to be so politically correct.
Yeah.
But when you do pageant, you're standing up on stage and people are just looking at you, judging you.
You know what? We were talking about this. So when she went to the gym with us you were like on your set or something.
Yeah.
She was saying how there was, what was it? You were talking about being on stage in your bikini.
Oh yeah, something about my heels that I had to wear. Yeah, so you had to be, full, like basically string bikini or very minimal clothing.
And you're a teen.
High heels, yeah. And then in the
You were a teenager?
they had it, and so in the USA system, you had to do that on stage, which somehow, like, on stage, you're kind of disconnected, so you're not, like, really paying attention. But they had a little panel beforehand that was, like, a preview, and I think it was, like, 4 or 5 judges. I mean, they're literally sitting as close to me as you are.
And you're
standing
stage,
right
so
there.
they're just...
Yeah. Well, the preview, they were, like, we're on the same level, like just looking straight at each other in a conference room so that they can get a close-up look at you. And I was 18, but the other girls, I think the youngest was 15, and we're standing there in a bikini and heels, turning around and having everybody scrutinize our body.
Bro, that's just a trip
so
to me.
unhealthy.
Yeah.
That's a trip to me.
Honestly, the most traumatizing part of that is I wore press-on nails, and mine were falling off as I was going to my previous It's like I was so stressed out. I had like 3 nails left.
That's
Walking around like
Yeah.
this.
So luckily I like didn't get the trauma from the swimsuit part.
Oh my
but mainly
goodness.
the nails. But yeah, no. Looking back at it, it's just like that. If I had a daughter, I would not.
That's why
Let her do that.
No, because let someone say one thing bad about these girls.
Yeah.
You need to, like, nope. I'm
Well,
blowing
it's
this
not
whole
even
place
saying
up.
bad. It's
I did not say that. I just said I'm blowing this whole place up. I'm joking. I'm not blowing anything up.
You mean that with love from your heart.
What were you gonna say?
Oh, it reminded me of so we left a dentist for the girls because one of them needed work and they wouldn't let us go in the back. And we were like, you're 6 years old. We're not gonna, and it was a male, I'm not gonna say names. It was a male dentist and he could have been fine. You know, it was like, it seemed to be a trusted place, but we're like, never.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a male dentist or a woman dentist. I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't trust people. Like, and it sucks. Like, look at the Olympics. How that guy that, you know what I'm saying? Like, anyways, this is way off of what we were talking about. So getting into makeup. So you're doing pageants.
So I went through that, which again was a whole other world. But then what was it? I really kind of clicked that I wanted to do it professionally when I interned for Nordstrom my summer after college, and I was in the salon shoe section, but it was right across from the makeup artist section, and I would just stand there and look at people doing makeup every day, and like getting to play with all the makeup and everything, and I was just like, I want to be over on that side.
Like, I can do that.
So I came back to Nashville, and I told my family that I really wanted to pursue just getting more education on it, because I don't know. I'm one of those people that if I'm going to do it, I want to do it right. So I didn't want to like be somebody that was not hygienic or, doing stuff that might not be the best practices. So I went through the Academy of Makeup Arts here in Nashville and got training for just basically like bridal production, film type stuff. And then I went through their special effects program as well. So I also kind of liked that because that really kind of explored the creative side. So I thought that originally I was going to go in and do special effects and I was going to be on movie sets and all that sort of thing. Then I realized what all goes into that. And I was like, oh, actually, I hate this.
Wow.
So
what was it that you were like, that turned you away from it? Like
So a lot of people don't realize how much work goes into making the prosthetics and everything from scratch. And it's a lot of you're just in a workshop, just like covered in dust and grime. And, I can get down and dirty and do the work. That's fine. But it just was, I don't know. I felt very isolating. Like you get there early in the morning, you don't leave till late at night when you're working on these projects. And it just, I don't know, it felt all consuming. And the actual, what I enjoyed the most, which was probably like the molding and painting or application, it's such a short period compared to all the other work that you have to do. And then also once you get that done, I don't love having to be on set for days on end and that sort of thing. So, and also, I don't know, not everyone is like this, but I just feel like a lot of the times in production, the makeup artists are just kind of like the bottom end of the totem pole. Like other people kind of feel like you're just lucky to be here. They don't want to pay you very well. They kind of treat you poorly when you are on set, and it just wasn't my vibe.
Do you think that's though because you found the wrong people? Because I know for me, I will pay a makeup artist way more, even if she's just okay. Yeah. Because they're a cool hang. Because I feel like when we have clients in here, they're the person that's hanging out with these people. And like if they have a good vibe, our clients can have a good experience, and then that just translates all the way through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been, I think I just too like, I don't know, I just don't like having to stand up. There's also, with makeup artists, it's like you're not allowed to sit down. You have to be like standing all day. It's 16-hour days. You're standing, you can't sit down. I was like, who made that up? The director that's sitting in the chair all day? Right. I'm just like, I don't know. So, like I said, I have worked with some good people on projects, but it just, I don't know.
I get it.
It's weighed out to where it...
So then you decide not to do special effects.
Yeah. So now I just kind of dived into beauty, and then I really felt like I found kind of, I don't know, my like specialty within the beauty realm of doing that kind of more natural, soft glam look, especially during the era of the Instagram full glam looks. So I was able to do that, and I don't know, I feel like I just really enjoy connecting with everyday real people and being a part of those special moments, and I feel like you just form like a really good bond with those people. And I'm still friends and talk to a lot of my clients, even though they got married, 10 years ago. So,
so you do a lot of bridal.
Yeah. Do a lot of bridal, a lot of boudoir, like corporate stuff as well.
What's your favorite, what's your favorite projects to do?
I really do love doing boudoir and bridal are probably my top two categories. Just because my brides, they come in, they do the trial, we get to know them. So it's kind of a longer process that I really get to know them. And by the time it's wedding day, it's like you're hanging out with, your girlfriends and you're just chilling out, getting ready that day. And then boudoir is just, again, fun because it's an empowering moment for that person and just being with someone as they prioritize themselves and taking a chance to make themselves feel good is special.
Yeah. I was like, good answer.
I know.
Yeah.
I love the moment whenever we have the mirror in here, and they haven't seen their makeup, and when they first see it, and I feel like every single person I know they expect that it's going to look good because we don't like. We have women that will, when she's talking on the phone, will be like, "What if I don't like my pictures?"
Yeah.
And what do I tell? Do you know what I tell them? Remember what I tell them?
What you tell them?
Yeah.
You tell them what you tell them.
I say, "Do you really think you're that special that you're going to be the only one that doesn't get good pictures?" And so they come in here knowing that, like, we know we're going to get some good, but I don't think they realize how good their makeup's going to look until they actually look at themselves in the mirror like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, and we've had a few clients in here where you, like, handle yourself really well because they'll be like, well, listen, I'm very particular about my makeup and there's something, you know what I'm saying? And, like, just watching
Which is fine, but I feel like I'm always like, great.
we usually don't get high maintenance people, but when we do, watching you handle that is just so, I'm like, man, she is dope to be able to do that. you know?
I think, well, just over the years of doing it, I think, especially in an artistic field, you have to learn not to take things personally because your artwork sometimes can feel just so close to you. And just not taking it personally of like, this person is already stepping into a situation where they're going to be uncomfortable. I mean, especially in like, you know, lingerie or, you know, these sexy moments. So I think that maybe they want something that they can maybe control. And just having that little piece of like, hey, this is what really I know makes me feel good. Or maybe they haven't even had their makeup done before, so they just have no clue how it's going to look. Or they have had it done and it's been crazy looking. So I try to just meet people where they are and listen to them. And a lot of the times too, people will bring me products. And I'm like, oh, don't worry, girl. Like I've actually already got this in my kit. Or, you know, a lot of times people ask me about what products I carry and that sort of thing. And two, just making sure that I keep stuff in stock that is high quality and brands that people have heard of. Kind of puts people at ease as well. Cause I'm like, you know, I value this. I put time and money into planning my inventory and, you know, selecting products that I think are really going to be great. And I think that builds a little bit more trust in people.
Right. So what do you do if somebody does bring their own products?
So usually it's actually kind of a liability thing. So if people ask me beforehand, I usually have people do, if it needs to be like not open before, and then that way I can still use it. But if something reacts weird, I'm like, well,
right.
I can tell insurance.
Yeah. Outside of doing makeup and business, are you an introvert or extrovert?
So it's so weird because I feel like everyone's like, oh, you're a people person and all this stuff. And I connect with people well, but it drains me a lot. So I feel like in a weird way, I'm an introvert because when I get home, I'm in my little cave and just, you know, geeking out about business stuff or
I always wondered.
Drawing or whatever.
I could never tell if you're an introvert. Even when we went to the gym, I was like, I can't tell if she's an introvert or extrovert. And I try to pick that up. You're an introvert 1,000%. I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to people.
That's totally believable.
I was just curious about that. So you say, listen, I want to start a business. What's it like? I feel like maybe you can touch on this because I think people get into this like, oh, I want to do this. And they don't see all the stuff that has to happen in order to. So what was your experience like starting? Yeah.
So I feel like I did come at it with a little bit of an advantage because I already went through college and did get a business administration and marketing degree. And I actually helped teach a course that was centered around entrepreneurship and building and writing business plans and did like a state competition centered around that. And so I was like, okay, well, coming into it, I kind of know the framework of a business, but I've been able to kind of step back and see some of the other people that maybe have gone through the different schools that I went to and kind of see them try to get started and then just never get that momentum going because they don't know really what even framework to put together or what systems to put into place to keep them going or even to get like just a recognizable and cohesive brand put together because I think that really kind of helps build trust and once people can see, okay, you put time and effort into this, you're serious about this, you're just not just, oh, I decided to pick up my makeup and you know, go start charging people. I think that just...
So what was it like for you though? So what did you do to get from oh, I like doing this for fun, to
Yeah.
like, what were some of the like milestones you remember? Okay, I remember when I first did this and then did this. Like,
So the biggest thing, I guess, is kind of determining, well, the first time, little bit, I guess, that you're doing this, you're just taking any project
Yeah.
that you
Right.
want. So I was just kind of like throwing paint at the wall. But finding how you're going to get your leads and generate those. So a big one for me was wedding wire and then Thumbtack. I still actually use Thumbtack
Really?
quite a
Thumbtack.
bit to get people.
Yeah.
But yeah, just trying to get that out there. And then I remember I went and I wrote down a list and address of every wedding venue, every production company, and I wrote them a handwritten letter and like mailed my comp cards that we gotten from school and my like rates and mailed them out to everybody that I could. And I mean, I may have only gotten like 1 or 2 bites, but that's enough to
still.
get you started.
Yeah.
So, you know, anything that I could do, I think is it NOSI, the college?
Yeah.
Yes.
They have a
I never
program.
saw how to say if it's Nosi or Nasi.
I think it's nosy.
I don't know. I just
know.
went with NOSI.
Yeah, I don't listen. I don't know how to pronounce a lot of things, so sorry.
No, you're good. But yeah, they have photography programs there. So a lot of their photographers would be like, hey, can you
Come in.
do this and do this project? And then I was like, yeah. And then that way, that's also, you can get those samples of work for your portfolio. So just...
So then building a portfolio was a big like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily with our school, so every week we would have a different, I guess, theme. And then they would have actual models come in and we would do hair and makeup on them. And then that way, by the time we finished the school, we had at least like 10 to 15 solid professional photos to at least get our foot in the door with people.
Right.
But yeah, a lot of people, I mean, you got to build up that Instagram account and stuff like that, which luckily throughout college where I was doing my stuff, like I tried to do like a little YouTube situation or I do makeup reviews or my sorority sisters, I would do their makeup and then take pictures of them. So I already kind of had that going, but being able to add those professional photos in. And then honestly, there's a period of like, anybody that will let me do their makeup, please come over and I'm going to do it and put your picture on there. So you just kind of have to.
It's like doing free stuff, you know, like sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
We did free stuff.
Well, it's just reps.
Yeah. And like it gets you, you get the reps and plus like you never know who you're going to, and we have a very good system in place to where we know if we're doing a project for free, that is going to be beneficial.
Yeah.
We're not going to do a project for free if it's not, because we are at a stage where it's like, we know how good we are and we know if you just want us to do something for free and we're not going to get value from it. Did you run into issues like that just doing free?
So I had to do with actually kind of with the NOSI stuff. So sometimes you do run into it. Actually, not just there. I had a couple photographers that I would do free stuff and I just never even saw any of the photos at all.
Oh, so you just did free work.
Yeah. So then I didn't even get that. So
Yeah.
you have to be careful with that. Most of the time though, it's good. Like, there's a couple people, especially in the bridal world, people will do styled bridal shoots. And I thought that was really helpful. Some of my favorite photos actually have come from the styled bridal shoot. So just
Do you feel
kind
like
of have to.
that's because there's more freedom there? Or like like you get to
It
choose?
is fun. Yeah. I would say, I feel like even then sometimes they kind of like have a direction that they want you to go. But yeah, you do have a little bit more.
What you're talking about the stages you went to build your business. What do you think was the biggest struggle when you go from knowing, I'm going to do this professionally? What was one of your biggest, like, man, this, if I could get this figured out?
Yeah. I think probably just, one, figuring out my imposter syndrome. That's a big thing. And I already like kind of look a little bit younger now, but when I was like first starting out, early 20s, people thought I was like 17 showing up trying to do this. So trying to get people to take me seriously, trying to get myself to take me seriously. I think that was a big thing. And then 2, I think probably just finding the right branding, and kind of like logos and like the whole package to get that together to communicate to the clientele that I actually wanted, because kind of going back to what I said earlier is when you first start going, you're just taking any and everything, and then you have to burn out, or I burn out really quickly. So I had to really kind of get over that hurdle, and I found out the more I specialized and the more that I said, this project may not be for me, I'm happy to maybe recommend you to somebody else if that would be helpful to you. But just being a little bit more selective. And
how'd you finally figure out what your clientele was, and then how to let people know that that's your...
How to reach that ideal?
Yeah. Well, I think it almost kind of happens organically, because when people are trying to find someone that they want with like their makeup style, if they hire me because they like the natural glam stuff, then they're going to want the natural glam, and then I'm going to take their picture, and then I'm going to put that on my portfolio, and then that's just going to almost like a domino effect of it kind of just helps.
Yeah.
Those people just like find me naturally that way. And two, just with myself, if I see a project that comes in or an inquiry that comes in and it doesn't kind of align with what I want, just having the discipline to say, no, this project, I'm not going to do it. Like, I want money, or I want to do this. But I was like, no, you're going to be regretting it. And also just learning to, I guess, kind of going back to the Instagram feed or website or whatever, if you don't want to do it, don't advertise it on your website.
Yes, I was going to say that, because we did that. I think, do you feel like a lot of people do that, where they just get the photos and they just put them out there just because they have them? Yeah. I think it's just the discipline to be like, okay, this is what I want. I'm not just gonna, like you were saying earlier, like throw something on the wall just because I have it. Or even when you were saying being selective with even what projects you take on. Because I think I still struggle with that. And I'll be honest about it, because somebody's like, oh, I have a good budget. No one says I have a good budget. They're just going to say, I have this budget. And I'm like, oh, that's good.
Then I have
We
to be
should
like,
do it.
Then I have to be like, but listen, every time we've gone outside of our, so I don't know how you decide what is a good project for you, but we have brand keywords that we have for our business, and there's 5 of them. And we make it to where people have to align with at least 3 of the 5.
Yeah.
And anytime we've worked with someone that only had 2 or 1, it's always been a nightmare.
Yeah.
It's like, it's been a headache. And I don't know what it is about the 3 out of 5, and that's worked for us. Every time someone has 3 out of 5, it ends up being a solid thing.
Yeah.
But for you, how do you, when you say, you were talking about like people that do want natural, what's it called? Natural glam makeup?
Yeah, people just like natural glam.
Is that how you decide who your ideal client is? Is it more about what they want style-wise, or is it like just the client as a person to start off with?
Yeah, I think, because, which a lot of people, sometimes they'll tell you that they want natural glam, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I don't even know, but I just know that if it's, if it's a basic like bridal look or something, I feel pretty confident that even if it's on like the more glam side, I can pull it off. But I don't know. I think that God has given me the gift of discernment and being able to almost just like get the vibe off those initial interactions or conversations. I don't even know necessarily how I know, but just having that gift to kind of see, like, I don't know that this is going to be like a good situation or that we're going to mesh. And that's a key thing too, especially on wedding days. Like, you want somebody that you're going to be able to vibe with, because if everybody just feels awkward.
It's a long day.
I was like, the day's going to start off weird. But one thing I think is a big thing, if people are already out the gate, almost like trying to tell you what to do or trying to push your boundaries, then it's sometimes I'll just be firm and, I'm always firm and set kind of what my policies are. And some people will be like, oh, okay, I didn't realize. And then, that'll kind of change the mood and we'll move forward and it'll be fine. And then some people will just disappear after that. So sometimes the problems kind of fix themselves when you just set your policies.
When you said you had to figure out your brand, how did you get that figured out? Like, did you go through a process or you hire someone? How did you?
Yeah, so one of my favorite things that I love to do, and I even like to help people kind of outside of my business do, is doing like the graphic design and branding stuff. So I really kind of had to play around with that. Well, my very first logo was super simple. But then kind of my second wave, I had more of like a groovy, like retro kind of fun color scheme, which I liked. And it kind of attracted kind of younger clientele, like more playful, which I did like. But then I kind of got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm taking myself seriously. I really kind of want to be more of that luxury upscale. Like I want to offer, more of like a luxury skincare application before I start your makeup, or I really want people that are going to value makeup on their day and like take the time to, okay, we're going to block out, an hour and a half on your big day just to focus on you. And I just feel like kind of just moving towards kind of like the more muted tones and like get that clean kind of modern look. And then my font style that I chose to go with, for my logo, it still has like a little bit of like a funky kind of style to it. So I don't know. And then also just being able to post the people that you work on, people get an idea of who your clientele is. So then also a good thing with weddings is that people that get married then usually have bridesmaids, and then the bridesmaids sometimes ask me to come back. Once. So it all is just kind of a chain reaction, and you end up eventually finding your people. Sometimes it takes a while to get there, but
do you think so? Like your makeup is just Karlee?
Yeah, Karlee Beauty.
Yeah. So you base it off of your own name.
Yeah.
So I have my own opinions on this. How important do you think it is to have a personal brand, like actually work on your personal brand versus a business brand?
Yeah, so I think it's a good question that you actually mentioned that, because I've sometimes have like struggled of, well, do I want a different brand or like something more generic, that because I've thought about branching out and having like a team that I just kind of send out to do stuff. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's very important though to have your personal brand, because you're building people's trust in you and they want you as a makeup artist. Even like you said earlier, it's like somebody might not be, 10 out of 10 technical wise, but this person is going to show up. They're going to be on time. They're going to be good energy to my event or to my shoot. And if they can kind of know that and feel that from your page, that's all the better for you.
Go ahead, sorry.
I was just going to ask, do you think you'd ever be open to the idea of building a team?
So I do right now. I hire out contract workers for a lot of my like bigger weddings or bigger projects. And I've thought about doing a team before, but I don't know. It may be on down the line. I don't know. I don't know if it's a control issue thing, but I get nervous of if it's a bride's big day and then I send somebody out and they're supposed to be the main artist and then they don't show up and then I'm not there to be able.
Because your name is on it. Yeah.
So that I'm like, ugh.
We struggle with the same thing. We struggle with that because like just bringing on editors or like bringing, like it's because you want to have but I feel like, and I'm talking to myself, because I feel like we just have to get over that, because no one's ever going to do it as much as you do, because no one's going to care about your business as much as you do. But you can find good people that work with you, I feel like.
Yeah. Those people are out there. They're just a lot of other people. They're in the weeds.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, luckily, I will say I've been very fortunate to meet a lot of other artists. And I actually, like, I'll go be the lead for other artists' teams a lot of the time. Dope. So I'm like, well, obviously there are people that will do it because I'm doing it for those people. So it can definitely happen. I think I just have to let go of the reins a little bit.
I also feel like if you called us one day, say, hey, listen, I'm sending someone out there, I'd be annoyed first just because it's not you, but I also would know that you're not going to send us someone that doesn't know what they're doing and wouldn't deliver. So I wouldn't freak out about it, because I'm like, because I know you as a person. That's why going back to the personal brand thing, everyone has a personal brand. Yeah. Period. If you believe it or not, basically it's your reputation. Yeah. So if you're always late, that's your personal brand. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you're always on time, that's your personal brand. If you
you're always early, by the way. No, like in a good way. Not like too early, but perfectly early.
Yeah. If you do what you say you're going to do, that's your personal brand. So I feel like even with you're talking about branching out, you do your personal brand, you could sell anything. You're like, I think I want to sell coffee or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And like people will buy it because like oh, I like Karlee. She sells coffee. Cool. Let me buy it from her because I like her. You know what I'm saying? That's what I feel like.
I also feel like you seem pretty structured too.
Yeah.
So I feel
That's
like
good.
if she wanted to branch out, it wouldn't just be, it would be like you would have a system. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say that is the one good thing is I do already have like my CRM, which if people don't know, that's customer relationship management, and those systems
people
in
know.
place. Yeah. But it basically is kind of just like a pipeline that as soon as somebody sends in a contract or contact form for me, I'm getting their message. Once I respond, it shows, okay, now we're on to the next side. And I've responded to them. If they don't respond within a certain time, you can follow back up with that email. If they want to move forward with a contract, it shows when I did their contract. It shows when they've paid their retainer fee. It shows, okay, now we're kind of in like the planning, waiting stage. So I already have those systems in place to where I keep all of our messages in one spot. I keep all of our documentation. If they send inspiration photos or whatever for their day of, I can house that. If I send out, like, sometimes I'll send out a bridal questionnaire to kind of get a feel of what they want. But
I feel like most people when they're starting business don't realize that you need all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they don't have
Well, you know,
systems
and
in place.
Yeah. I feel like people are not that your excitement like goes down, but I feel like when you first start, like you just want to do the thing. You don't even really consider all the back end stuff. And I feel like the right person, what's the right person? Some people will fall off. We all know that. But like the person who's really, truly passionate about it, like maybe their passion goes down a little bit because they're realizing all the stuff that they have to do. But I had a point with that. I can't remember where I was going.
I don't have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I think just kind of piggybacking off that, it's really easy, especially for makeup stuff, to throw up a quick Instagram account and throw on a couple pictures. But then it's like, okay, well, why haven't I gotten bookings off of my like 6 pictures that I've posted? And people don't realize you have to do kind of that dirty work of I'm going to go find all the addresses. I'm going to go handwrite letters. I'm going to, I might have to pay $500 to get set up on this account for the year for them to put my leads out there as an advertising type fee. And I think while even with makeup, there is still a pretty low barrier to entry. You still are going to have to invest in yourself and your business if you want to get your name out there.
I think that could be helpful for anyone in any business, like knowing that you need some kind of like system. What do you use for your CRM?
Right now I use HoneyBook.
HoneyBook?
Okay.
A lot of people use HoneyBook.
Yeah.
It's really easy because I don't need something like crazy in depth, but it's perfect for what I need.
We use Pixify. It's a friend of ours started it years ago, and we were there. I don't remember how long it's been.
Well, there's like a little number on your profile picture. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so right now it says 13. So it's been 13, 14 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
So we've been using them forever. And I feel like they're similar to HoneyBooks.
We actually started it when we were doing weddings. Because I don't know if you know, but we started in weddings. Like we used to film weddings. Okay.
Yeah. But so we use a mix of that, and we use Notion, which I don't know if you use Notion or not, but if not,
I've heard of it.
Bro,
is it good?
It's everything we do is this whole outlines in Notion. Once we're done with this, we'll dump the footage. Heather and I will both be able to see who's going to edit it, where it's at in the pipeline, which is what you're talking with clients. So that's another tool.
The tingly lines coming off of you from the excitement. He loves talking about Notion.
But I love systems, and I love
structure.
Having structure and automation, like knowing how we're going to get someone from this point to this point. I think what we're talking about is people don't know that figuring this part out is so important. You're not going to start here and get anyone to the end if you don't and being intentional with how you do it,
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, so I know when you started it, you mentioned that having a system or structure was important to you. Was there something, why? Was there something that went wrong that made you realize, I need to have a structure? Or is that just something that's just in you?
Yeah, luckily, I think it was the fear of something going wrong. Nothing actually went wrong, but just that constant anxiety of, is something going to go wrong? Because I do just take it so seriously. And I mean, I would be devastated if, I missed somebody's wedding day or something crazy because I forgot to put it on the calendar, or even just, I think there was a moment of one time somebody did ask me about something and I had already had something booked and I didn't realize it. And this person hadn't even gotten to the contract or hadn't even paid anything yet. But I just felt so bad even just having to tell them, hey, I made a scheduling error. I'm actually not available for your date.
Yeah.
So just trying to avoid anything like that. And even now, sometimes I'll get that anxious feeling of, oh my gosh, did I put that down or whatever?
Yeah,
and then I'll
yeah.
go back to my little, I don't know, like account or whatever I have for that client. And I'm like, phew, okay, no, I did do that. And it's like, no, of course you did, because you've got these systems in place. Like, you know, every step you have to do
And that's what's
in order
cool
to
about,
be successful.
that's what's cool about having systems in place. You don't have to like, we're human. We're going to mess up.
Yeah.
But if your systems are in order, all you have to do is make sure you've checked off everything. You know what I'm saying? Because honestly, I feel like there's some jobs that you can replace anyone and they can go in there and do it if the system's good enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I couldn't go and do makeup like you do. But I could probably run your business if you have your system. But if you had your system set up correctly, I could probably go through and take your client all the way through.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be able to do the makeup.
Yeah.
You know? And I was going to ask you, so what if someone was asking, like, why do you think systems are so important when it comes to focusing on your craft or business? If someone was asking that, they're watching, what would you tell them?
Well, the less time that you have to spend on all of that kind of like mundane stuff, the more time you can spend actually perfecting your craft and doing research on, you know, staying updated on your skills, staying relevant, what are the new products, and that sort of thing. That way, because your customers are paying attention to that stuff. I mean, even just like on Instagram, TikTok, you know, whatever, they're consuming all these media and trends, and they're going to ask you about that. And if you're like, oh, I don't know, then they're going to be like, you're not staying up to date on, you know, your own career. So,
I think that's a good answer.
Yeah.
Man.
And like, just, I don't know, there's so much education available too out there with like master classes you could take or anything. I don't know, just, I always have the drive to learn something new and further my skill. So again, the less time you're spending on this other stuff, the more that you can actually hone in your craft. And then once you're, you know, a master at everything, I mean, you're going to be unstoppable.
Yeah. I also feel like systems are good because you can guarantee that anyone that hires us to do anything, they're going to get the same experience as the person before them. You know what I'm saying? Because we have the system in place. They know that they're going to get a good experience. That's why some of the biggest brands ever do so good, because they have a system in place and every person they service is going to have a really good experience all the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
No, I actually had a thought and then I couldn't remember. And then I was like, let me open up my notes. And then my notes went blank for a second. I was like, what is happening?
What would you do if someone, like, they've already started a business? What would you tell them if they've already started a business, they're just overwhelmed already? Like, okay, how do I now create a system? I'm in this place where I'm just like overwhelmed and I don't know if I've waited.
Yeah.
Like, what would you tell them?
I would say, honestly, like even just sitting down and either like on a poster board or like on a piece of paper of like what you need and like what function of your business needs to be addressed or what is the step, like almost set up a mock system of like, what is my client going through and like walking yourself as if you were a client or sitting down with like a friend or family member and kind of working it out with them and then trying to work on building that, whether that's you doing it or I mean, again, sometimes you're going to have to invest in your business. Sometimes you're going to have to say, hey, I'm going to have to hire somebody else to do this or, you know, consult with me on how to do this because I don't have the knowledge. But somebody out there does.
Yeah. Like knowing to search, like to reach out to people and then not being too proud to actually do that.
Yeah. We have a client that she was struggling with, she wouldn't care I'm talking about this. She was struggling with like just her brands, period, because she runs multiple different things, and she was struggling trying to figure out the websites where they're going to link to and like the content and all this stuff. And I said, you need to decide where you want people to go. You need to have a client journey. And so anytime we are confused about something or we need to figure it out, we will draw it out. And we use the app Freeform. It's a free app on Mac. And we just basically make a flow chart. Like, hey, here, we want them to go from here to here. What do we need to know about this step? Okay,
I love a flow chart.
From here to here. You know what I'm saying? And like, I don't know if people still do flow charts, but for us, I just feel like business is about having clarity on what your end goal is. Yeah. And having a flow chart is definitely, you can see exactly where you need to get them. I also think some people have too many options. Like, bro, all we need to do is get them from here to here. Just
Right.
do that. Not like, oh, and then if you go here, you can join my master class. And then, you know what I'm saying? It's like, bro, you want them to get here, just do that, you know?
Well, I feel like some people too, I feel like if you're, not that if you're really good at something, but if you have a lot to offer people, I feel like you can overthink it. And so you're like, I can offer this.
Yeah.
When most people want maybe this and that instead of all these things. So I think it's easy to overthink it. And so when you even like before with some people, I don't want to say names. We got to the point of creating flow charts with our clients because we had experienced that where people are like, oh, do all these things. You're like, all right, let's sit down, spend some time to figure out the path. You know,
sometimes when you do those flow charts and they see everything, they're like, oh,
yeah,
but
this is chaos.
Yeah, but then I think you can go the opposite way too, because we're always talking about take messy action. Because I feel like you could possibly do a flow chart, and maybe it's like the opposite effect of what you want, because then you become overwhelmed. You're like, okay, I have a lot to do. I need to make sure I perfect all these things before I make a move.
right.
And I don't know.
It kind of goes along. Sorry to cut you off.
Nope, go ahead.
Goes along with our other podcast where we're talking about New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
We don't think that like you have this, oh, my goal is this. It's what do you want your life to look like? Business to look like? Okay, let's break that down into tiny projects and like just accomplish one thing at a time, you know?
Smart goals.
Yeah. So you're not overwhelmed. I think I didn't realize there was a term that, because Lou, if you're listening, she actually talks about SMART goals. I didn't know that was a thing. I mean, I've heard people talk about it, but I didn't realize like I didn't call it that. But it's true. Like you want to get goals to where like you can actually complete until you finish. Okay, cool. I made this milestone. All right, next, because you'll get overwhelmed if not.
Yeah.
I feel like.
I personally like to see things like I like them written down. Yeah. Like I remember growing up in school, I always liked that. What is it? The Venn diagram?
Oh yeah, where the thing in the middle.
The two circles come together. That used to just, for whatever reason it was, I used to love doing that.
So I just feel like if you're in business and you're trying to figure out how to make it work, the first step I would see is, okay, what is your end goal? What do you want to accomplish? Let's work backwards from there. That's how we've approached it.
Yeah. And I feel like it doesn't just stop at the beginning either, because I feel like people can be like, I get my system in place, like I start, I do it, and then like you just keep going, but you're just going to stay here. Like if you want to keep going up and like be able to scale things, you need to go back, look at your flow chart and make sure see if anything needs to be realigned, see if things are working. And
we I feel like we're talking a lot about ourselves, but we have this one client. So we do a lot of content where we help, not content, we just do a lot of where we help brands. And we've actually struggled with where you were talking about overthinking because you do so much, because we do a lot of stuff. Like I love automation. I love setting up people's systems to where it's like organized. I love being able to just like help people change their mind, like their mindset on how they're thinking about things. Because it's like all that stuff goes into branding. I feel like, and running a business. So we've stopped saying that we're photographers, videographers, or everyone's a brand coach now, you know what I'm saying? Like, 'cause that's the thing. I just say we help brands solve problems. Yeah. Because if you say that, because pretty much if you can solve people's problems, you're
like, oh great, this is exactly
you know what I'm saying? Like, yes, we use those tools to do it, but like, where was I going with that?
Well, it'd be like if she was saying, like we say we help brands solve problems, these are the tools we use. That'd be like her saying, to make it the opposite way. If she was like, oh, I'm trying to think of something, some kind of piece. I don't wear a lot of makeup, so I was like, I'm a mascara person. You see what I'm trying to say?
Instead of saying, I'm a specialist at using this
I do all of these, like I use all these tools, but under the umbrella of this.
For you, I was like, I make you look the best. I bring out the best in you. Yeah. Like you already look amazing. I'm gonna make you look a little bit better. Yeah. That's what I'd say. And because then I know you like to do natural makeup, but then if someone's like, oh, I like very dramatic, hire someone that does that, and it's still under your, you know what I'm saying? So like, I never thought about that. That's good. Hey, that's an idea. What were you gonna say?
Well, I was gonna say, I was like, sometimes I even like doing the like more dramatic stuff. Well, depending on, there's like a different level, but I don't know, just having like that option to do. different things.
More dramatic stuff.
Yeah.
Back to systems. We have clients that we do stuff with, and we had one. In this case, we were creating content for. They wanted brand awareness, and we killed their brand awareness. Like we were doing so good, and we had a few videos go viral. I'm not talking viral like 100,000 views.
Yeah.
One of them almost has 5 million.
That's awesome.
Right now. There's another one that has like 400,000. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it wasn't just a one random video kind of thing. Like we were doing that, and the thing is we could see how they're responding to leads, and we started noticing they don't have any system in place to handle these leads, bro. And they were getting a ton of them, you know? And so their system was out of place. And so then it makes it look, because they're not converting.
Right.
Because of their systems suck. And it's like, hey, why come none of these people? Bro, because you don't have a system in place to like get these people in your, and like I hate seeing that. And that's why now we make all of our clients go through the brand identity framework. This is a webinar. We take them through how to get, you know what I'm saying? And making sure they have systems in place to handle that. Because everybody's not ready to have a ton of business.
Yeah. I was gonna say, well, even on a smaller scale, it's like, I've heard a lot of people that come to me and they're like, well, you're one of the only people that will even respond. Like, you know,
that's so crazy.
So
yeah,
it's
make
like
any sense to me.
People are just like, we didn't even hear back from any of these people. So yeah, it doesn't even have to be on, you know, a mass scale. It's like, just in general, please get back to your
do the little things.
clients.
How do you, so talk about how you balance just being creative and business. Yeah, because there's some people that's like, oh, I just love the creative part of it. I don't like business.
Yeah.
How do you balance both of those?
I think this is just like maybe a unique to me type of thing, because I equally love the creativity and the admin side. A lot of people either like one or the other, but I am like very much like, right now I'm also going through a data analytics course. So it's like I can sit down and like code on the computer and then, you know, go draw some like crazy cartoon character on my Procreate thing. So yeah, I think that might just be a me thing that I got really lucky with. But yeah, I think, I don't know, for other people, if it's something that you don't like, again, maybe try to just be disciplined and being like, I'm going to dedicate, you know, an hour a day or a couple hours a week to sit down and do this. It may not be the most exciting thing in the world, but it's necessary to do that. Yeah. So either if you can do that, or if you're bringing enough, you know, leads or income that you could maybe even just hire somebody out to do that.
Like a VA.
Yeah.
Like I know some people that hire VAs to do admin stuff.
Yeah.
But again, you have to have your systems in place if you hire a VA. She was talking about taking messy action. And I know my answer to this, but someone listening, what if they're wondering, how do I know when it's like I've taken messy action, when it's time to actually shift from that messy action to actually getting something more structured?
I think probably when she starts seeing things like slip through the cracks, I would say is like, that's a good sign of like, okay, oh, I didn't get back to this person, or, oh, I didn't put that on the schedule, or, oh, I showed up to a job. You're going to start feeling it too. Because if you show up to a job and you don't have something that you need, like that embarrassment, you're going to be like, oh, I don't want to feel this ever again. So yeah, that's happened to me before a couple times. Nothing like major, because usually I can kind of like keep cool and work through things. But I think just as you go, you're going to get those like ping moments of, oh, I got to set up a system for that so that doesn't reoccur.
Because it's not like, I would say most people don't think of everything at once, like up front and be like, here's everything built out, my entire system. Or at least you could think that, and then later.
Well, you don't know what you don't know. So like if you've never experienced it before, then how could you possibly plan for it? But I think that just comes with just experience. And doing it, because obviously I know a lot more now a decade in than I did. But
the cool
young whippersnapper.
The cool thing I think about all of us is we're learning. Like we're very good at what we do, but we're not like too egotistical, too proud to admit that we're still learning. Like I will run away from someone that says they have it all figured out. Like, okay, cool.
Literally turn around and run.
You're like, all right, cool, good job, proud of you.
Well, everything is just evolving so quickly too. It's like you couldn't possibly have it all figured out. So
I feel like the big like takeaways is definitely take messy action.
Yeah.
Like don't wait till everything is perfect.
Yeah.
Take messy action first. Like, I know we've been talking about having systems in place and like it's important, but don't let that stop you from getting started.
Yeah, that's true. Don't paralyze yourself because
Right.
you have to be a perfectionist. Yeah.
Right. And then knowing your client journey. Like knowing, hey, I want them to go from here. What's yours? Like your client journey. I'm like, do you care sharing it?
So basically, what people will go through, it's pretty brief, but just I get their inquiry, and then if they have like a set number. Sometimes people have a number of, I need this many services. Sometimes they don't. I have a bridal guide that I have already written out for people that has my pricing, answers to like frequently asked questions. It has a diagram of kind of like, these are the steps in our booking process, some testimonials, portfolio pictures, that sort of thing. And then once people come back and are like, yes, this price is, good or bad, then we'll either move forward with a contract, or sometimes people, still aren't comfortable. I'm like, okay, let's schedule a consultation call, and I can kind of
Walk you through.
walk people through how the day is going to look, or what my services look like, what products I use, yada yada. And then so I'll write up their contract. They'll sign that. I get a retainer fee, and then honestly, it's pretty simple. After that happens, I always tell people that they can either send me like inspiration photos or anything like that. I'm always happy to kind of answer their questions. And I'm there every step of the way. I'm just kind of give them, unlimited access within reason. But if sometimes people have a trial, sometimes they won't, especially for wedding stuff. So then trial date will happen. We'll go through everything. After the trial, I always like to reach back out to people. Because one big thing for me is I always want people to know, like, anything is changeable.
Right.
So I'm not going to take this personally. Like, I did, a baseline of kind of what I kind of think is going to look good on you. But obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of what you love to do with your makeup every day. And I'm not going to take it personally if you want something changed. I was like, I actually would be more hurt if you don't have me fix it, and then you go around and then are like, this makeup looks awful. But then I also, usually a few weeks before the wedding, sometimes you have to coordinate with their wedding coordinator to get timelines set up. But I'll create like a custom timeline to them, send everything out, send them instructions, and then it's wedding day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you know what you're missing in your pipeline. Unless you just didn't say it. But you didn't say it. You didn't say it. So that's in your pipeline, right? So you do their makeup, right?
Oh, then I'll like follow back up with them and get like testimonials.
Okay, I was about to be like, you got to do that. Because, bro, people stop there and they never go back and be like, and for us, we'll send out a thing. Hey, can you just send us a thank you note? And that's what we do with the speechless stuff.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, it's so huge getting that little testimonial. And we have a page on our site to where it's like, hey, we'd love for you to send us your thank you note so we can feature your photo, because everyone wants to be featured on this website. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just saying the word featured.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be featured.
Yeah.
What we do, I don't know if you do this, but we have a testimonial from someone that we love, and we say, here's an example of a testimonial that or a thank you note that someone's done.
Yeah.
So you can look at it and get an idea. If you look at the testimonials on the website, a lot of them are similar because of that. They're like, and they're saying all the things SEO wise that we need them to say.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
oh,
good.
Nashville, or oh, you guys were the best. Like, they say that kind of stuff because they see it in the sample, which is like, I don't know if you do that, but it's so easy to get people to say what you want them to just by saying, hey, here's an example, because they want to make sure they're like following the,
And then for people coming to the site, they look at it and they're like, oh, all
Everyone's
these people are saying the same thing, so it's got to be true. I mean, it is true.
Right.
But
No, I like the psychology behind that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we should do a podcast episode on like the psychology of stuff that we're doing behind the scenes.
Yeah, for sure. I love that type of stuff. So
Me too, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
part two.
yeah,
but really quick, so even with Boudoirs, we were talking about earlier how you shop mainly with women that are shooting photos, never a guy. So there was a company in town that we started climbing Google, and it was like my goal is to get to the top of Google, okay? And once I set my eyes on something, I get obsessed with it. And so, bro, every day I would wake up, and by the time it was nighttime, I was still working on our SEO stuff, learning, And so we were climbing. And then what they started doing, because they saw us, they started marketing themselves as, we are female only, because I knew that's something we couldn't do.
Yeah.
And it was a very smart move on their
It was.
So what we started doing were our testimonials, when we'd have our girls come in and get their album, and then we'd ask them a few questions, video, and have them saying, shooting with a guy, like, it was so cool because I'm doing this as a gift for my husband. So I know that he's shooting this. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying? And like, or they'll say stuff like,
it was just addressing it head on.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're going to, I mean, not that it's like a back and forth thing, but I'm like, if somebody's going to try to use that against us, okay, yes, that's what we are, but there's a benefit to that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and one girl, she goes, okay, so you go get your boobs done. It's a guy doctor. Are you not going to do it because the doctor is
Or
you know
how many
saying?
gynecologists are out there who are males?
And so it was, but we have other women saying that. So then anyone that has that question, they see, you know what I'm saying? And it's actually helped us a few times. Like, I'm just kind of nervous because I didn't realize it was which if people say they're nervous because they didn't realize it was a guy shooting pictures, they didn't look all through our site because we make that really
Or they didn't even, because
But-
I say it on phone calls too.
But even people that feel like that, we'll just send them a link to these testimonials, and then they're oh, okay, cool, fine. Because I get it. Like, again, what we're talking about, there's creeps, bro. Like, hell no, I understand it, but I just want to make sure that it was just interesting, like the psychology behind, okay, they're doing this. Let's actually make sure we have women talking about their experience, just so, because I'm like, I love competition. Yeah. And they probably don't even know they know we exist, but they didn't even know that we were like competing like that.
Yeah.
Like, and so, but anyways, that went way off of what I was going to say. Go ahead.
I was going to say I don't know what you were going to say, but we were just, this whole thing was talking about systems and having a plan and everything.
Even with your systems, I think another big takeaway from what we're all saying is once you get stuff smooth, if you want to keep going, you have to make those systems even better.
Yeah. Then the fine tuning can start.
And like, because you want to make sure you're meeting your clients' needs, but then you start doing stuff where they're like, oh, I didn't expect
that
this.
little bit extra. Yeah.
Because we tried, there's whenever we do our a review, we do a review every week. And
for all of our projects, clients, make sure everything's
and so one of our quotes on there, it says, "This is Disney, not McDonald's." And the reason we say that is because, listen, both of them have really good systems. McDonald's has a really solid system. Disney has a good system. But McDonald's, they just want to get as many people in as possible, and it's a factory. Disney, they do so many things, so when you come in there, that experience is amazing. Like, even to the point, and I'm not going to let you talk about it because she'll go.
That's why I'm just sitting here silently.
I'm going to keep on
my
talking.
Magic Kingdom mug.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you, because bro, she's upset. But even have you ever been to Disney?
Yeah.
Okay, so even the smallest things, like when you walk into Disney, you're walking uphill to see the castle. Okay, everyone's so excited to see that castle, they're not even thinking about the fact that they're walking uphill. At the end of the night, when you're pushing strollers, you're now going downhill. You're not even thinking, because
I love that stuff.
Like, imagine if you had to walk uphill going out.
Yeah, like, oh my
That'd
God,
be so busy. Like, that's one.
I'd be like, well, I guess we got to turn around and say.
And they do that uphill thing because it's like you see more and more of the castle as you go up. And like, there's another thing where they have like trash cans every like 10, like you can't take I can't remember how many steps without throwing something away. Like, they think about all these
like
things.
20 feet or something. So
I don't know what it is.
But either way,
they like
accessible.
take away the opportunity to throw trash on the ground, and I'm done talking.
See, but they think about all these things to make the experience for the visitor just amazing.
Yeah.
And so that's one of our things. It's like, man, the more we can make our systems better, like we were talking earlier, like, man, once we were doing this podcast, but imagine when we get a camera for each person. And now everyone that comes on our podcast, we just send them clips. Like, hey, here's these clips, enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to spread. And eventually people are like, I want to be on the podcast. Yeah. Get some content, you know? And so I'm trying to think how we could.
But that's also good for us because it's good for them and it's good for us.
Right, 100%.
Yeah. Same thing as with Disney, because Disney's creating an experience for those people. So they're going to feel good. And what are they going to do? They're going to tell all their people like I do.
I'm trying to think for you, like what you could do to, you know what I've always thought would be the smartest thing? is you come in, you do makeup. These girls love what their makeup looks like. I don't know how much it costs or what it would entail. Is if somehow you either mailed them, emailed them, or there was a kit here left for them that they can take with them and say, hey, look, here's what I used on your makeup. Take this with you.
I do that with like, I'll send people a rundown of like, especially if they're like really kind of mention of like, I love this. Like, I need this foundation. I'm like, hey, girl, just, I know you're busy right now. Go enjoy your honeymoon. But when you're ready, this is what the foundation.
I think that's so dope.
So good.
Because so many makeup artists, I mean, we work with a lot of them. And every makeup artist we work with is dope anyways. You know what I'm saying? But like, we've mentioned that idea, I think, to some of them. They're like, oh, but then they can just go and start their own. Like, if you're worried about someone starting their own makeup business or whatever because you give them what you used on them, you need to work on your own skills, I feel like, you know? Like,
that's like us saying, putting out a list of, this is all the pieces of gear we use.
Yeah. Just because you see the gear, you're not going to be able to do what we do. You know? But I don't know how. So if you do that, I would try to figure out a way to do it even doper to where people are like, man, this makeup artist, when I book her, she did this.
Yeah. She takes care of me.
Yeah.
It's an experience. It's not just like, bye.
I'm trying to figure out something else you could do that's like even on top of that. Because like,
I have thought about, well, even just with my aesthetics background, I really kind of want to go into even putting like a prep, almost like skincare set for people, or like offering consultations with them for that, which I do kind of do like a brief consultation with them to kind of give advice to them on top of their trial to be like, here, switch some things up. And sometimes it's stuff that I can't fix or like a skincare product's not going to fix. Like you need to go to like an aesthetic center or a plastic surgeon and get, you know, some little things done. But just being able to provide that information for them ahead of time so that it's not the wedding day. And then they're like, well, I wish I would have done that 6 months ago, or I wish I would have started the skincare routine.
Why didn't you tell me?
6 months ago. Yeah. Right. But just having access of like having like a little sample kit for them and then giving it to them for their trial is something that I'd really like to do. And then obviously if they like it, then that's something that they can continuously come back to me as well and like, hey, I need to like restock on this facial cleanser or whatever. And that's, you know, an ongoing thing.
Bro, I saw that so every time we do these podcasts, I put in ChatGPT. I have this prompt that I use. Oh, yeah. And when I ask if there's a guest, they say, okay, it responds and says, okay, here's your guest name is this. Do they have a website? Whatever. And so I'll put in your info and it'll spit back a ton of stuff that I didn't know about you.
That's scary.
I just, no, this isn't that big a deal. I didn't know you have a thing on Etsy that's like for brands.
Oh, yeah.
What? Tell me about it.
So I started on my Etsy actually just as like a fun little side thing with my like drawings. Like I'll do digital drawings for people, but also I have kind of like branding and business content for makeup artists. Like a big thing is contracts because that's something that you definitely have to have in place. And a big thing that I've seen people getting started, that if you don't have that, like you can really get yourself in a mess.
I remember starting business, like Googling, okay, what's a good contract?
Yeah. And it also kind of goes back to those are things that you know that you need in there after the experience. Like, oh, I didn't realize I needed to say that, you know, I'm allowed to leave if this is a hotel with bed bugs or something, but like now I'm going to add in, you know, a safety clause or something like that. So I have like templates for that people can use. My bridal guide, I think that I get so much good feedback off of having my bridal guide that I can send to people, and it stands out because not everybody is going to take the time to have that. So just having a template for that people can go on Canva. All of the elements and everything I use were free, so then you don't have to pay like an extra subscription for that.
Right. I love that.
But yeah, just having those little elements available for people because, it's hard to sit down and write a whole legal contract and you have no idea.
I was going to say, so for people how would they find you on Etsy?
Wait, no, before, okay, go ahead, Etsy.
How would they find that specifically?
So my Etsy, it's Karlee Ray Design Co. on Etsy. So it's Karlee RAE Design Co.
Okay.
Nice. But the thing is, I found on there, because, you know, we're big on brand stuff and that's like our jam. I saw you had, was it an ebook? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I just launched an ebook. Yeah. Actually, I did that yesterday. I've been like really focused.
I told you, I didn't even know about that.
I just like write books in my spare time. But yeah, so my previous stuff has been more makeup related, but now that I'm kind of like branching off into other things and have kind of helped some other people do like logo designs and something like that, I was like, this is something that can apply to really any type of brand. But it's about building your brand identity and just kind of walking you through the steps of really getting the brainstorming process going of, you know, what specifically about you, even going back to the personal brand of like, what do you offer? Not just like, oh, I do makeup or whatever. Yeah, everybody does makeup, but like, what's that spark that you're going to offer these people that are going to keep them coming back to you? Just developing a mission statement, your vision, like where do you want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? Determining who your target audience is, doing a SWOT analysis, kind of getting an idea. There's different like worksheets and stuff you can do in there. For kind of like, let me jot down what I want my logo to look like. And but then also like your brand voice. Do you want to be, you know, professional and kind of more stern? Do you want to be more like fun and relatable? And kind of even just like your tone when you're emailing somebody or in your captions and stuff like that. And then also a big thing kind of tying back into my business plan thing and that I did in college and competition was I did a 30-second business pitch competition. And so I have something in there about that. And I'm like, practice saying that to anybody that you can like kind of get into contact with and just be comfortable speaking about your business, because with back to the imposter syndrome, sometimes you're going to feel like, oh, I'm just going to like tell I do makeup, I guess. It's like, no, I'm Karlee. I'm owner of Karlee Beauty. I offer luxury bridal services in Nashville for hair and makeup. I travel on location and provide you an experience that is relaxing, has an easy flow to the booking process, and trust in me, and you're going to look great on your big day. Like even just being able to have the confidence to say that is a big thing.
Did it take you a while to get there?
Yeah.
Did you deal with imposter syndrome real bad?
Well, I mean, I think that sometimes it's just, I don't know, it's a little bit annoying because people just still, oh, you're just a makeup artist. Hey, you just do makeup. I'm like, no, I'm a business owner. I've built a business from the ground up. You know, I've had to learn all the functions of business, whether it's, you know, accounting, marketing, web design, lead generation, also the technical skill of me actually being able to go do it. You know, being able to put a kit together, even all of that, like you guys see now I have my little backpack, but I think the first time I came here, I had like my like suitcase, like big bulky thing. So even just fine tuning like all of those different aspects, I think it's really easy for people to be like, oh, she puts goo on people's face. It's like, no, there's a lot more, but
have you heard the concept of brand keywords? Because we've talked about it. We do it for us. Like, have you done that with yourself?
I feel like I have some, but definitely
we should do that with her sometime.
Dive a little bit more into it.
Let's do it. We should do that. We'll come and have you at the table and we'll just go through it. We'll just go through it with her like we do all our other clients. I think it'd be dope. Because, bro, I want you to be huge. I don't think, because you're so good. But listen, you have to make me a deal that you don't get too big to do stuff for us.
I always have a
Come on, man. Okay, so Karlee, how can people find you?
Yes. So best place to find me is my website. It is www.karlee, which is Karlee, beauty.com. You can find me on Instagram as that as well. I think on TikTok it's Karlee Beauty Makeup, because why was there another Karlee Beauty before me? I don't know.
So it's Karlee.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Man, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thanks for having me,
How'd it feel?
guys.
Like, how's you like our first person with a new like?
I feel good about
Isn't this your first podcast?
This is my first podcast.
Wait, this is your first? I didn't know that.
Yes, I feel very honored. I told Heather, I was like, I geek out about podcasts. I wanted to be on one forever, so I super excited that you guys had me.
Bro, why don't you start your own podcast?
I thought, well, that's why I was telling her. I was like, I kind of want to start a podcast, but then I think that's another thing of like feeling so like nervous or scattered that you paralyze yourself to do it.
We'll help you. We'll help you. Let's get you started. Yeah, that's easy, bro. You don't have to.
I have like mics and everything. And like I literally have the equipment.
You have the stuff.
Do you want some over and help you set it up to make it look dope?
Potentially, yes.
Bro, let's do that. Let's do that. We'll document it and make it a piece of.
That'd be
video.
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be makeup artists with the podcast. I'm sure they have them, but like talking about business and stuff and makeup, I think it'd be a cool idea. Anyways, hey, listen, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys.